Okay, no problem. Yeah.
Okay, Chair.
Okay, thank you. It's now 6 PM and September 9th meeting of the CDL, please come to order. Big roll call, please.
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Alderperson King,
Here.
Mike Suter,
Here.
Richard Badger,
Here.
Tom Medley.
Here.
We have and Alderman Weigels on the phone. We have a quorum.
All right. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the July 22nd meeting. Is there any additions or correction? If not, can I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Moved in second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Minutes stand approved. First item on the agenda, discussion and proposed for the Habit of Humanity for 6901 West Beloit Road. Patrick?
You might recall, Mr. Chairman, that the CDA purchased what was former Czar's Bar on the corner of 69th and Beloit Road. That property was raised because of the physical condition of the building. It was foreclosed on by Milwaukee County. The roof was caving in. We used CDBG funds to clear the site for development or housing project. We then went out to bid a single family house, and I think it was around 1,400 square feet, and came back like $420,000, way higher than our federal subsidy limit for using home funds to build an affordable house. We started discussions with the Milwaukee Habitat for Humanity. We do have a representative, Brian, tonight from Habitat for Humanity. I'm going to outline the proposal, and I'll have them come up and answer any questions that you might have. So we have around $100,000 invested with the acquisition and the rate. You can see what the site looks like today. There are two lots at the site. You can see the size. It's kind of triangular in a way, or trapezoid in a way. There was a survey done, and we by Habitat for Humanity, and it can show you how the two homes can be located on the site. There we go. We are talking with engineering. The property on the right, they'd probably like to see the driveway come off of 69th Street. We'll work on that, but in terms of a concept of the homes that you can see here, these are 4-bedroom, single-family homes. This is the architectural style. It does have a garage on the lower level, and then you can enter from there. We did have a day where we went and toured Habitat for Humanity homes. A few alderpersons did attend to take a look at their current, I can't remember the street folks around. Excuse me?
Bill Phillips.
Yeah, it was in the Harambe neighborhood. Your north side.
There was a number of homes being built, and they are very nice. So we continued that discussions, and here's the outline of a concept. Habitat for Humanity is looking for donated land. They would construct two homes. They're around $315,000 a piece. They would be $75,000 investment of home funds in each home. So that's 150. And then there would be private donations, private labor, private donations in terms of equipment and et cetera, that would help bridge some of the gap. And Habitat for Humanity has partnerships with different lenders that would provide below market mortgage for people who are that qualify and typically of a lower income. You can see here the home buyer donation also of 15,000. That's home funds. So 30. So it'd be around $180,000 of home funds invested. The home funds could come back, but we're working through that model. So you can see here 30 to 80% of AMI income. It would be deed restricted in terms of the home. The next person that buys it would have to be someone who also meets that income requirement. So there is two concepts laid out in terms of what this would look like by Habitat. And I don't know, Brian, you want to come up and kind of discuss this and the mission?
Sure.
Happy to have you, Rick.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Brian Sonderman. I'm the CEO at Milwaukee Habitat, and really excited about the potential to partner with the city of West Allis. So we anticipate that these homes, based upon a market assessment for these types of homes around 1,500 square feet, would appraise at $300,000. As was mentioned, the sale price that we would set for this home would be about a little less than $182,000. And we've worked on that to make this affordable, not only for the first-time home buyer, but through the deed restriction model, it would be affordable up to 99 years. So subsequent home sales would need to be income qualified, and we would cap the sales price. So the first home buyer can build wealth, but it's limited. And so there's the balance of affordability and then for the first-time home buyer and then long-term for subsequent home buyers. And so this sort of shows how that works out. So if 10 years later, the first home buyer sells the home, just based upon how things have gone over the last 10 years, home prices have doubled in the state of Wisconsin. So it's not inconceivable that this home that appraises for $300,000 today, 10 years from now is $600,000, which is crazy to think about, but that's the way the market is working or not working. And so the purchase price in this scenario under lasting affordability would be $221,000. And would, you know, that at that price, 10 years from now, it would continue to be affordable for a low to moderate income family. And so, again, we're trying to balance wealth creation because home ownership should build wealth, but also balancing that with the idea that this is not winning the lottery. We're not, you know, it's not Habitat for, you know, Humanity to win a lottery. It's to be affordable for the home buyer and then subsequent home buyers.
We do have the framework in here, the affordability period beyond the 10 years without that, and this is prepared by, this does look like a lottery win.
Yeah, exactly.
When you look at the home equity that could be gained at the sale and after this ownership. But we would want to maintain that affordability, so for at least 20 years for the construction of the new home.
Question.
Go ahead, sir.
The rendering that you showed, was that a rendering of one house, different angles, or was that the rendering of the lot in both houses?
That's different angles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So side profile in the front.
So fitting both properties, I'm still trying to figure out how you're gonna get two properties on here. How are the, so the one you said the garage is gonna be facing 69th Street. The house,
That is
house on the right,
that's a regulation from engineering.
the one on the left, are they coming in off Beloit, or are they gonna come in? Is it gonna be like
The
a
one
long
on the
driveway?
west side would come off of Beloit.
Okay,
It would have to come, I think there's a median in front there. They'd have to come from the west to get into their driveway.
We do have a lot of experience working, you know, with very narrow.
I'm
lots.
quite familiar with Habitat for Humanity. I grew up in the city, so.
No, that's a great question. Yeah.
And then yard space, how much green space is each? Because it looks like the one on the left is gonna be pushed back a little bit off the street a little bit.
Yeah,
You
you've
see
got a
that?
little bit, yeah, you've got less backyard. You've got a little bit more on the side. But again, yeah, that's working with the lots that we have, you know, and trying to maximize the setback there and the green space.
And these are gonna be 2-story,
Mhm.
2
4-bedroom, 2-story.
For both of them?
Yes, yeah. They'll have they'll have a basement, but unfinished. And so.
Any other questions? Mr. Clark?
Thank you. Patrick, will these properties be taxable or non-taxable?
Fully taxable.
Thank you.
Well, I've got one question for you, taxable. Is that the appraised value or what
It
they
would be-
sell for?
Well, that's up to the city assessor, but I think Habitat would recommend that it be based on the market level influenced by the restrictions of the deed. So in other words, if you can't sell it to someone who's at the $600,000 price, you have to sell it at 221, it should be a tax at that lower level.
Just was curious on your, look.
another.
That's not uncommon, with, like tax credit, senior developments and things like that. I mean, it might be a $7 million development, but it's assessed at 2 million because of the income restrictions on the rents. It might be in the complex. I don't know. Probably going into another subject there, but
Okay, go ahead, sir.
So there's not gonna be any public pushback on this being that it's Habitat, because I mean, there's always gonna be a perception of who qualifies for Habitat. So is there any anticipated pushback about these being Habitat homes?
Well, I can't, our intent as a organization would be to do neighborhood outreach, ahead of this, if, agreeable, working with the older people over that area. And reach out and, do listening sessions or what have you, just to explain, to help people understand, because people have maybe an understanding about habitat. Some of it may be skewed or, accurate or not accurate. So we want to, explain what we're doing, how we're doing it, be very transparent. And we believe that we can build, goodwill with people if we just have those conversations.
The last question, time frame of development.
Yeah, so our plan right now, if things proceed, that we would break ground in summer. And 26, and generally with our model of utilizing volunteers, our homeowners are doing sweat equity. They're helping to build their own home alongside volunteers, doing financial education, other training and development as they move from rental to home ownership. That's usually a 9-month process. So a little slower than if you've had a for-profit builder with nail guns. But when with volunteers, safety goes first. And so the process is, and to do the sweat equity, because these are people that have jobs and families, and they're doing this on their PTO and on the weekends.
We've not worked with Habitat for Humanity before, so this is a new venture for our city, but
I was gonna ask that.
as a, in terms of affordable homes, we have built them. That's not uncommon. Sometimes there is the NIMBY factor, but this is home ownership. And, yes, it's affordable, but that's one of the goals of the community, is to build different types of housing for all people. And there's been a calling for some affordable homes, and I know being at the CDA, there's been times where we've talked about promoting more ownership. And Habitat has a great mission and program set up for that. And this would be a great partnership to advance, and we have the home funds to put, and it falls below the subsidy of the 420,000 that we couldn't do before. And so now we deliver the 2 affordable homes in this neighborhood, and I think it'd be a great fit.
I'll say so.
Go ahead.
More for my education, if the original homeowner, obviously they have a certain financial level, right? If they exceed that at any point, do they have to continue to report what their income is, or can they continue? If they decide that that's their forever home,
Yeah.
and great for them that they've rocked it at their job and they've increased, they can continue to stay, correct?
Correct. Yeah. There's no further income qualification for the original home buyer. And we hope that is the case, right? We hope
Yeah.
that they get those promotions. We see a lot of our homeowners go back, get a college degree or a technical degree. It's amazing what this home ownership, achieving that dream unlocks other dreams, right? So then what we will monitor and ensure is, from the long-term affordability, is that then when they do go to sell, at some point in the future, our average home buyers right now stay in their home 14 years, which is right on par with the national US average for home ownership. So it's very, very comparable. But say 20 years from now, 25 years, down the line, they go to sell with that deed restriction. We would ensure that the next home buyer is also low to moderate income. So between 30 and 80% of AMI, average median income.
There,
Go ahead, sir.
I move that we
I'm
looking for a
looking for
motion.
a direct, I don't think, we just had it as a discussion, but, the idea is that you provide us direction, and if you want us to go and negotiate and get this.
Oh, yeah, I'm
We're gonna do a development agreement. I'm sure maybe you have an agreement. We just gotta put those together and lay that out.
So the consensus is that Patrick should follow through and see what comes up for development.
I'm all in.
Okay,
I'm certainly in favor.
all right.
But on the side, have you ever been to Americas?
I have not. I have been to Georgia many times and to Atlanta, to where the headquarters is, but I haven't been to Americas, which is where the Habitat was founded. Have you?
When you go there, then go just down the road a little bit to the National POWMIA Museum is phenomenal. And Andersonville.
Sounds good.
Right, any further questions regarding this item?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Put you out quick.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're at item number 3, resolution amending finance real estate consulting services contract with SB Freeman Development Advisors in the amount not to exceed $25,000. Patrick?
You have a motion.
We second. It's been moved in second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
That's for, yeah, that's for everybody's, we use SB Freeman as our outside financial consultant when we're negotiating with developments. We've been working with SB Freeman and we have a large chart that's comparing all our deals and deal points, et cetera. We want to make sure that when we're doing negotiating and development agreements, that we're not inflating somebody's numbers and making sure that we're putting the least amount of public dollars in. SB Freeman is like, they're up from Chicago. They provide a great market understanding, and they're outside, and it provides, you trust maybe staff, but this, I think Wayne Clark says we should have outside people look at our numbers to make certain that what we're doing is best for the city. So they help with the negotiation process so that we're not like listening just to a developer and this is what they want. We're gonna negotiate. So they've been very successful working with us in reviewing numbers, and this is just the continue. We keep them on in order to, put development proposals before them, come back, review the numbers, and like I said, they've been very resourceful.
Thank you, Patrick. Go ahead.
Patrick, how many $25,000 extensions have we offered this year?
I think this is the first one.
First,
Yeah, we usually do maybe 2 a year. It's not a lot, but
We can look into it.
yeah, well, we can give you a breakdown the last couple of years at the next meeting.
Any other questions? Wait, let me get. We did vote, right? Yeah.
Yes,
We did.
Oh, we already.
we did a first, second. You didn't, I don't know if you did.
You call. You call for the motion.
Okay.
Moving on, no,
Okay.
cool.
We're good.
we have a resolution, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was a
you want a roll call?
Yeah. I could,
Okay, Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Alderperson Keen.
Aye.
Michael Suter,
yeah.
Richard Badger,
Yes.
Tom Medley. Jerry Monder,
Yes,
resolution passes.
thank you.
Still got the phone?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's,
He's gone. He's having problems connecting as he's driving through Colorado.
All right.
But he did call this afternoon, go over the entire agenda.
Okay, we'll go to item number 4, resolution to amend professional service contract with Lutheran Social Services for work related to the Family Self-Sufficient Program. Patrick.
Mr. Chairman, I turn this one over to my colleague, Steve Scher.
Hey, everyone. Steve here. Hey.
You haven't met Steve before. He is in charge of planning and zoning and housing. There's our operations.
Housing team, CDBG, yeah, so everybody.
Whatever else you give them, right?
Yes. So back in March, the CDA approved the contract with our family self-sufficiency coordinator, who happens to be Lutheran Social Services. And they provide us, they help run our family self-sufficiency program, which helps increase the person's savings as they're on our Section 8 program or they're a VASH participant. And as they receive promotions through work or get a better job, the savings translate, those dollars translate into savings into an escrow account, which typically over a 5-year period can be quite substantial in some cases, depending on a person's goals and motivation. We've had some people with upwards of $20,000 in savings, which they've used to put towards a down payment on a home. So it's a very good program, one that helps bring people off of Section 8 and towards family self-sufficiency. The grant that was approved, or the amount that was approved earlier this year is $110,000. LSS has updated that to $143,000. We were the recipients of a grant, a $95,000 grant that we received earlier in the year. It wasn't reflected in that previous contract agreement with LSS. What this does, the $143,000 up on the very part, it breaks it out into 2 categories: grant eligible expenses totaling $95,000, the amount of the grant, and then everything else, the $48,000 for a grand total of $143,000 for the year. Now, we haven't been charging to the grant yet. We wanted to bring this back to Development Authority for your review and hopefully approval. At which point LSS would then begin invoicing us and we would be able to spend down the grant award of $95,000. The grants aren't necessarily available every year, but when they are available, we'd like to apply for them. And it is something that will help offset our cost. Now, this money comes directly out of our administrative reserves. So it's not taxpayer money or anything like that. It does come out of our admin reserves of our housing program, which is somewhere around the neighborhood of about $950,000 in total. So
every voucher that is issued by the city for rent assistance, we get an admin fee to counter the management costs, et cetera. And we've been successful and we've accumulated a balance. But there's a federal rule that we have to maintain a family self-sufficiency program. We get scored on it. And the fact that we had people participating helped us with our CMAP score.
Yeah.
For HUD, and that's how they kind of weigh your housing authority and measure where you're going. So.
Mr. Chair, can we not use CBDG funds for the difference?
CDBG funds would be used for other services like public services like, well, everything from certain city departments to
Mhm.
we do have Hunky County like homeless and
Right.
some other programs that request those funds. But
So-
I suppose Lutheran Social Services could apply for CDBG funds.
Mhm.
However, they haven't. We've always had a separate contract with them, a contracted agent to run the coordination of the program, and we've taken that money out of admin reserves.
And what happens if we don't fund the remaining? What gets lost in the
well,
program?
What the difference was, we could still use the grant, but we wouldn't utilize the full amount of the grant. We'd probably leave some money on the table, which, the HUD would take back. But if we wanted to leave the contract where it's at right now at $110,000, it looks like about $65,000 could be utilized from the grant. And the rest of it would just come out of the budgeted amount that we have. So that is an option as well if you want to leave it at the 110, but we were just looking to fully utilize the grant amount.
Mhm.
And that way, in the future, if we apply again, I can see a track record of utilizing that grant.
So if have a grant for 95, but they can only use 65 to that. The original amount we approved was 110.
Yeah,
Overall from the admin.
from the admin reserve.
So we were going to say, here's 110 from our admin reserve. But now instead, we're gonna say,
Yeah.
here's 65 from a grant, and then the rest is admin reserve, so we're actually taking less from the admin
We'd
reserve.
be taking less from admin reserves well, in either case, I guess. In this case here, you'd be taking about $48,000 from admin reserves. And in the alternate route, if we just go with the contract we have, the $110,000, which was approved back on March 5th, you'd spend about $65,000 on a grant and then, leave another, that the difference between 60, 65 and 110. So,
Mhm.
45.
yeah. So
And
there is adequate capacity within our admin reserves for either route.
Mhm.
And admin reserve has to be used for Section 8 purposes.
Yeah. And then what are they saying is the difference between 110 and 143? What's the big change in theirs? I mean, obviously I know the economy goes up and.
The bigger thing
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
the actual salary amount really hasn't changed much. It's gone up maybe about $8,000 to 58,000 here. They have fringe benefits in
How
there.
many employees does that total salaries cover?
One FTE.
One.
Yeah. And then there is some oversight
Oversight.
down below. There is some supervision and oversight, but that's the not direct
Fringe.
portion of it. Yeah.
Fringe benefits, healthcare?
Yes, yeah. And then they did increase their training membership professional. Again, just keep our coordinator current and, trained up professionally, developed with best practices. They have increased the training dollar amount too. That was the more significant change between the March contract that was
Mhm.
approved and then this one here,
Is the training?
the training. yes.
And is it the same, how, this one full-time employee, have they been the same full-time employee for a while?
Yeah, Trisha has been on our team now for probably about 2 years. And before that, Don Smith.
Okay.
So we are with the next budget cycle, I will admit, we are taking a look at perhaps even maybe possibly coordinating this in-house,
Mhm.
maybe not working with LSS.
Mhm.
And, taking a look at maybe hiring a person, a dedicated staff person
And save that.
to do the work. Yeah. So that's another option that we're exploring. And
I do think it should be explored maybe next budget. Overall city impact, right? We can hire the right person to do it and keep it in-house.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be 143,000. You might have some, but then we're talking, money's basically probably covering that each and every year besides recommended salary, but,
It would be it'd be funded out of the federal program. There wouldn't be any city
right.
Yeah,
dollars.
yeah, this is purely
Right.
all federal.
Mr. Clark.
Jerry, do you see, what is the amount of the administrative reserve
$957,000.
and who controls that?
The housing office, it's money that for successful vouchers that are on the street, and that's an admin fee that we receive for each successful voucher.
And you come to us because we are the ultimate overseer?
You're the housing authority.
You are the housing, yeah, you're a housing authority.
And are you looking at that budget regularly?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay,
So I guess my only question is,
We're in a different financial position than, I'm sorry, than the Milwaukee housing authority. That you might saw some headlines about, so we're a little bit more secure.
like cost per unit, like how many people have been served 2025? What's the anticipated people being served in 2026?
Right now, we've got about 31 people on the program, and that number, there's a little attrition. It's like some people get on and then some people are like, oh, it's just not for me. And I think, yeah. So, but we want to increase participation, but also more importantly, just the amount of savings people with escrow accounts. We want to see people's escrow grow. We want to see the people, even if we have fewer people in the program, we want to see the people that we have on it maximize its worth, so grow their savings and graduate from the program. So we want to see that. We'd love to see membership grow, maybe by 10 to 15 people annually. That's one of the reasons we're taking a look at maybe somebody in-house. We feel that that person, whoever we may hire, if it's an in-house person, could possibly gel with our housing team a little bit differently, because they're here the day in and day out in the office versus a contracted, employee who's here maybe a day or two a week and then they're working remote. So that way, yeah.
Go ahead.
What is now that we have Habitat for Humanity at the table, what's the possibility of possibly marrying this program with Possible Habitat?
I think it's a great potential match. I mean, the two go hand in hand. And, yeah, we start taking a look at other opportunities in the city, not just 69th and Malloy. Maybe start building stuff on a bigger program.
We started looking at Section 8 ownership type of initiatives, and they have been done, but they're very difficult with all the federal regulations, but we'll come back and we
Yeah,
can report on that. We can see if there's a way to do that. Maybe Habitat might have some ideas from other states
Yeah.
and cities, so.
they are a good resource, though, that's for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
So what's the recommendation? Would you
sure.
prefer us to?
Well, if the CDA so chooses, our recommendation would be to support the new contract amount of $143,960, and we'd like to fully utilize the grant.
Jerry,
Go ahead, Mr. Clark.
thank you. I want to go back to that $1 million
Sure.
one more time. Wouldn't it be, given that amount of money, wouldn't it be helpful if there was a one sentence item on this agenda that says this is the amount, and then show any major additions or subtractions, just because it's so much money? And since we're responsible, have our eyes on it.
For the admin reserve, you're saying just to have that line item?
Or is that just,
We can show you that at the next, we can show you the housing tool that in the balances of everything. Yeah, we used to put housing reports on the
Yeah.
CDA agenda. I know what you're talking about, like how many vouchers every month, what's paid out,
Yeah.
et cetera, but for some reason, I think we stopped that because it wasn't asked for anymore. Or if you want to see that, we can put that on the agenda.
well,
Probably quarterly.
I'm not looking for a full blown,
No, but we can give a quarterly, show you
which
where,
is to highlight.
An update, yeah.
yeah.
And
We have a-
maybe $1 million is nothing.
Yeah, it's just it's difficult money to use and we use it just to manage the,
And is that why you're recommending this? Because again, it has to be used for section 8. So this is prime example of we have this reserve, we have this money sitting here. It's not like we can really use it for much. This is prime example of one of the reasons that we can actually take from that reserve rather than sitting on it like
Right.
Scrooge McDuck, right?
It's a use or lose it situation though.
sooner or later, it's gonna be taken.
Yeah.
Right. But we've also
Yeah.
get,
You don't get someone to come and get it.
Right, right. I would make a motion to approve.
Been moved to approve the second. Any further discussion? If not, Patrick, you take roll call. please.
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Alderperson Keen,
Yes,
Michael Suter,
Yes.
Richard Badger,
Yes.
Tom Medley,
Yes.
Barry Modern.
Yes.
Resolution
Resolution
passed.
passed. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay. we'll go. Number 5, resolution authorizing the executive director to prepare a project plan for tax increment district number 21 plan for South 92nd Street and West Greenfield Avenue.
Mr. Chairman, you might, the CDA owns the former St. Al site. The site that developed, we entered into a raise agreement with F Street to raise the church's school.
so weird.
Site, and they've been very good to work with. We worked on an agreement where they would buy the land for development. And part of that LOI, which we originally entered into, was to create a TIF district for future development. This is the direct staff to prepare that plan. We have the development as proposed here in the renderings here that will show you. 105 unit apartment building. Oh, there's some of the blight. One of the big things for creating a TIF is addressing a community issue such as blight. The buildings were vacant since 2021, have gone into deplorable condition, leaking roofs, vandalism, etc.
Fires.
So, and fires in the dumpsters on the site, so it became a public nuisance. So the city even stepped in and buy the note on the site, so we were pretty aggressive in terms of our path. And now we're getting to the point of negotiating the development agreement. And with the timing of both getting the development agreement negotiated and the 90 days it takes to create a TIF, we want to start that process. You can see that there is a base value to the TIF. Base value means this is what's locked in when you create the TIF, and then anything above that is the increment that's gained to help pay for their costs or provide, in this case, an MRO, municipal revenue obligation to the TIF, or to the developer, or to do other things outside of that boundary. This is the proposed boundary where you see the one on the site. It's shaped kind of like a claw or a wrench, but that area is Gonzaga. It's a separate property, separate ownership. It's affordable housing for seniors. That is there, and we plan not to include that in the TIF.
Mm.
So the TIF does extend beyond the property line of the St. Al site, which is roughly around 5.67 acres. And that includes the right of way. You can see we've carried it into the right of way of 93rd Street, 92nd Street. In case there's any pedestrian improvements, bike trail improvements and things like that, we need to do it in those particular areas, or traffic mitigation. You can go to the next slide. The other part of the TIF is, and this map's gonna get cleaned up a little bit, but you can do a half-mile radius of a TIF to do improvements. If there's excess increment in the TIF, we would like to put this in there. In the past, we've done housing and other economic development incentives outside of the TIF boundary to make improvements to the area. And we're gonna be talking a little bit about that here in the future and some other agenda items. Again, it's considered 53% blight based on the conditions of the site, age, etc. The proposed project is 105 apartment units and then 42 garden style apartments. There's a mix of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms. You can see the rendering here that it has different amenities of workspace, fitness, dog walking, 2 rooftop patios on the site. And these are the townhomes that will have both indoor parking and then a surface parking lot. I think there's 22 garages and then 22 surface spaces for each of the 2 buildings that will consist of the garden style apartments. It has a different quality materials. A lot of it is a masonry fibrous material like hardy plank. Am I saying that right, Steve?
Yeah.
Thank you. Probably not the best person to be outlining architectural materials. We continue to maybe have a discussion about how we could incorporate some masonry into the project. I think that's gonna be a negotiation. But we are working on that. But overall, it fits the context of the neighborhood. And it's all completely market rate in terms of apartment. We have seen the market study for the project. And if you looked at all the new apartment buildings in the city of West Allis, except this is before the flood. The West and Sona, and what other one am I missing?
The
So-
West,
so
Sonoma,
those-
94.
Yeah.
The red.
1% vacancy. And based on the market study, it showed that we could absorb a number of additional units in our city per year. That's just a huge housing demand. I think the absorption was close to 500 housing units a year within our city. So we do have a couple under construction. The Rev has come online, the Land by Label's under construction, and this would come online probably in the spring of 2027. So these will probably come in line, the garden stuff, a lot sooner, and that portion of the development would start first, moving to the mid-rise apartment. Keep going. We did have Ellers, which is our city's bond kind of firm, and they also work on tax increment financing. They've run a TIF model, and a TIF can be structured for 27 years. In this model, we are structuring it for 27 years, but our goal is to negotiate for something less in terms of that MRO obligation. And we'll talk about that in closed session. It generates close to over $600,000 of increment each year, and $25,000 in admin monies taken out before any increment is provided to any developer. So that covers city costs, administrative costs, annual reporting for the TIF, et cetera. What has been asked by the developer is around 7.8 million net present value for a $41 million development. If you took the straight every year, add that up, that's $14 million without factoring in net present value. It does appear in line. They do have an IRR calculation that we'll talk about in closed session, that is proprietary. But that is the outline of TIF. One of the things that I'll let you can discuss this.
So, one of the items within the TIF plan itself is surrounding improvements, budgeting for any accessory type of improvements beyond just the incentive to the developer and the admin costs that Patrick outlined. So that's all this map does. It's part of the required TIF plan. It's maps to show, and then the budget along with it. So typically we do have incentives for commercial properties or residential properties that can get loans to do improvements within a half mile of a TIF. So we budgeted within this TIF for $250,000 to allow for that. So we don't want just the TIF impact to be that property itself. We want to be able to share in the success of the TIF. So if those funds are available, this is a budget created to potentially utilize towards eligible items.
If increment exists and the TIF has a positive balance, we could do these projects. So we're putting it in the plan, so we wouldn't have to come back and amend it later.
And then we just have, again, it's just, this allows the projects to be eligible. It doesn't mean it's a project that you're gonna do. So we have, like, you see the number 3s on the 2 parks on La Follette and on Reservoir. And then we budgeted $250,000 towards public infrastructure improvements, art benches, park improvements, things like that. And as well as $250,000 towards street improvements. So it just allows us to be able to utilize those funds if anything comes up and there is sufficient funds in the TIF available.
Go ahead.
You guys are reading my mind with the commercial development piece. So the line right now that you have drawn out is the north side of Greenfield Avenue. Walgreens have been closing everywhere. Has there been?
The
any
CVS drugstore is closed across the street.
So is it possible to put that lot into the actual line?
The reason we did not include it at this time is because you don't know the future. Know how many years, and it could actually cause a decrement in the increment, but because now you have this other base value. If it becomes something that we could track a positive, something that's really a great use for that area, we could amend the TIF to add that to the instead of putting it into the base value now and causing more of a slower period for the TIF. And that was even, we did bring this up to Ellers when we modeled it, and they suggested not including it this time.
It satisfied my question.
That was my exact.
I'm like, right, I'm like, that,
That's why we're all
have
having,
this beautiful
Right.
development right here. They got that like,
Like, oh man, they're leaving bumpers and couches.
but that's why we're also doing the economic incentive so that you can do that within a half mile too. So that's right across the way. There's different ways we can do it. So
Yeah.
we're making sure that we cover
okay.
that, but we would gladly come back for an amendment for something that is positive and can create increment.
I would make the motion that we move forward on tip 21.
Second,
Motion move forward. Second, you had some items for closed session. Do you want to vote on it before closed session?
Now you can vote on authorizing the proceed. We do just get into a little bit of the negotiation.
All right, I just wanted to double check.
Yeah.
Any further questions regarding this item? Patrick, you take roll call, please.
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Alderperson Keen,
yes.
Mike Suter,
Yes.
Richard Badger,
Yes.
Tom Medley,
Yes.
Jerry Monner.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay.
Mr. Meyer. Question.
Go ahead,
Patrick.
Clark.
2 or 3 meetings ago, we had an older person in here who was very direct regarding questions about the design, paint colors and so forth and so on. And we've been keeping her informed of the negotiations and the discussions.
That's my co-part.
That's
So,
Alderperson Grisham, and we
Yep,
do our best.
District 3, and we actually met with the developer and talked in length about material, colors, type of material, layout of material, keeping it, so yeah.
You're satisfied. So thank you.
Pink and yellows.
Yeah.
No Miami looks.
Yeah.
But just, now that, just where everyone's on vacation, the September 30th meeting, like Sean was asking, that's also the night of the next CDA meeting. That's the night we have the statutory public hearing for creating the TIF. We hope to, get that then forwarded to council, and that would be then October 21st. But I plan to introduce the TIF plan, October 7th, but just introduce it so that you have time to read through it or ask questions. And then the 21st, instead of just, here it is.
Yeah.
And that way, if there's any if you want it on the agenda just for discussion, that's what I'll do on October 7th. And then on 21st would be the actual council resolution to adopt the TIF. And then there would be a follow-up joint review board meeting in early November.
Like a plan.
Right. All right, we'll go to item number 6 now. Discussion regarding the proposed TIF plan amendment for tax increment district number 7 and the dilution of tax increment district number 6, Lime Pit, and tax increment district 13, Home Juice. Patrick, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna turn this one over to Sean Miller.
Thank you, Patrick. If you recall, TIF 7 is the former Alice Chalmers property that's been at the center of it, that's been redeveloped into 600,000 square feet of office space, one of our biggest taxpayers, and a huge success. Went from being taxed at nearly nothing to in that $50 million range, and kind of just moving up and down based on the market and things. But a huge success. So that started in the early 2000s, and that TIF is nearing an end, and it has a positive fund balance of around $6 million. And we have 2 additional TIFs that we'd like to take a look at dissolving, using those positive funds from TIF 7 to help pay off the 2 other TIFs, TIF 6 and TIF 13. This is the boundary of TIF 7. I'm sorry if it's a little crude in nature, but you see Greenfield Avenue to the south. That's the Hank Aaron Trail to the very north. And you can see Washington Street, 70th Street to the west, and the east side is around 65th to 63rd Street. One of the things that we also are looking for direction on is if we would be allowed to, we have an accepted offer for a property within TIF 7, that's Motor Castings. It's a 2-parcel property, so 2.887 acres of it are within the TIF boundary, and then 2.69 acres are outside of. So within that TIF plan, we are allowed to purchase underutilized sites, but this is for a parcel within and one just outside of it. So we're just looking for permission from the CDA to proceed with that. We have an $800,000 approved agreement with the Motor Castings sellers.
And that's on tonight's agenda too.
You'll see that later on the agenda. So that's all. This map is just showing that one parcel's in and one's in. So again, going back to the TIFs that we've an opportunity to close, TIF 6 and TIF 13. TIF 6 is what we call the Juneau Highlands TIF. We originally called it the Lime Pit TIF because that is what it was. And we decided to sort of remarket it and give it a better name. And so we did land.
It's hard to sell a development site called the Lime Pit.
So we did land a big manufacturer there called Glen Reeder. It's been a huge success. And it's been great. It's just, there's a little bit of a nuance in the manufacturing with how much they get taxed, and some things change. And so just not taxed as much as was projected when the TIF was created. So it just could use a little help to just finish the TIF off. And I'll get into those numbers as we go forward. TIF 13 was a little bit different. There was like I don't know if you call it a midnight dump of some chemicals and some bad stuff on a property that was negatively impacting the whole area. And so we came in with the assistance of EPA and DNR, used some of the TIF tools and some good partners, and purchased it, sold it, and so it's been redeveloped into like an office and storage space. It was owned by Supreme Builders, nice brick building along 113th Street, just south of Greenfield Avenue. But it never was really projected to TIF. And so it just needs a little bit of help to get over that finish line, which I'll show you in a second. This is the current situation for TIF 7. You can see it's sitting with approximately $6 million of positive cash flow right now. And then this is the effect of if we were to donate to TIF 6 and TIF 13 it would still have a positive cash flow of 4.6 million. And then with 2 million that will come in at the start of, or in 2026, it would be at 6.7 million in 2026. And this is with the money going out to the other two TIFs.
2 million's projected already, just because we know that that's.
The value of the properties in that TIF.
So they outline what Sean has done here with the proposed donation. We've talked with our Director of Finance, and Jason America's behind me. And it is something that has been recommended from finance, and we've also ran it past the other city administration, and we'd like to see what we can do to close those two TIFs. And this also opens the door to close TIF number 7. So 3 TIFs, but there's a nuance related to TIF 7 that we can talk about here in a second.
Yep, and this just shows, so TIF 6, real quick, just getting into the finance, it's about 1.2 million short in needing that donation from TIF 7 that you can see there. That's a accumulation of some bonds and existing debt. Sorry, it's jumping around. And then TIF 13 cash flow, you can see that needs approximately 215,000 to get to closure. So it's always great if we can dissolve TIFs and get it back on the tax rolls. That would likely happen if we did do this in 25. It'd likely happen in 26.
Question.
Go ahead.
The 1.2 that's an accumulation of debt.
Yep.
So it's not going to be annual. So what's the annual deficit for that property?
So you can,
For that TIF?
Yep. So you can see this is what's owed. This is a bond that's owed right here. This is their annual payments.
Plus
It would
interest.
total 900,000, yeah, plus the interest. And then there's a cumulative
Short.
debt right here in this area that gets you to 227. So it's that 900 plus the 227 that gets us the 1.2. And you can see what's coming in is that 189,000, the total revenues.
So
So
this 1.2 will alleviate the bond debt. Pretty much all the debts that's in that first red.
yep, it would pay off the first red box and the cumulative.
How long has this TIF run?
I think we created it in 2006.
Is it 27 years?
Yes.
So this one would go to like 2031. It could go.
There also is a pad that the company can expand on, but there's no plans to do so at this time. And when the site was prepared, it was prepared for, I think they built 90, 130, and there's room to do a 40,000 square foot expansion. If they did an expansion, the numbers would most likely be better, but the state has changed how everything is calculated on industrial properties, and industrial properties across the board are being assessed less. Then because all the equipment is exempt. When we started the TIF,
Oh, yeah,
the equipment was
personal property.
taxable. So there's,
It's a huge change.
So by doing this again, it pays off 6 and 13 and puts them back on the tax base.
correct. Which actually reduces, Jason, it reduces our mill rate, right? Potentially,
It doesn't pay it off, does it?
it doesn't, but it has a effect that the mill rate goes down, but I'm sure he doesn't want me to get into all that right now. Yeah,
Technically, yes, by that small amount that it adds to the big giant pie. Right,
but that's the goal.
Go ahead, Mr. Carter.
Both 6 and 7 are issues that I've raised many times, which is the taxpayer is taxing authority for the ones that have put up the money. And we keep maneuvering and playing and moving dollars around. And I think doing it in our own best interest. But what about the taxpayer? I just think the taxpayer gets shortchanged in all
This
this.
would actually benefit the taxpayer. Because we're paying off this debt. If the TIF doesn't pay off the debt, then the city would have to resolve that debt in some manner and therefore tax for that shortfall. If you can't resolve the debts of the TIF. So this, because one TIF has been very successful, gives us the opportunity to pay off where other TIFs. It's not to say they weren't successful. One addressed a complete environmental hazard and the other one built a 90,000 square foot corporate headquarters, which is a positive, but it just hasn't hit the projection. So we're resolving that future liability for the city with the success of what we've seen from TIF 7. So therefore, in my mind, would protect the city's taxpayer. And then if we can close TIF 7, provide additional tax relief with that tax base being added to the city. But there's a nuance that I will talk about here in a second.
If I may ask Jason a question. From your vantage point, are we treating all the taxing authorities fairly?
I guess I don't know how to answer that question. Are we, like, as far as when we close them, how do we give up the rest of what's left? Yeah, that's by statute, by state statute. So like when TID 7 closes, for example, there'll be some sort of excess in there. That gets distributed exactly along the lines of the same percentages that the taxes are paid on the tax bill. So from that perspective, yes, that's exactly the same.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
We have a couple more slides.
The other question, because TIF 7 is coming towards the end of its expenditure period in 2026, the other question from Ellers is, are there any other potential future costs associated with TIF 7? So we just included these in this slide. You know, potentially some funds towards Summit Place, retaining blast cleaning technologies, that type of thing. And then additional funds towards Makers Row, potentially towards tenant improvements or things like that. These aren't items that we have marked to actually spend money on at this part. They needed to know if there were any potential eligible projects coming forward, so we put those out there.
Doesn't mean we'll spend the money, but if we don't ask now during this time, and budget for it, it's hard to come back later to do it when we close the TIF. We are working with, Blast Cleaning Technologies, working through some things with the physical condition of their location. That survey of that hasn't even come back yet. It's supposed to come back any day in terms of, possible improvements. I know their electrical system is, failing at the site. They're operating, but there's no redundant system, and the transformers that operating there are outdated. So, you know, they went from 80 employees in 2018 up to almost 400 employees today. And what we can do to preserve that manufacturing in our city, you know, this is the only program we have right now to do that. So we're talking about, let's put some money aside, earmark it for this. If we need it, it's there. If not, we don't spend it by 2026, February, then we can't use it. So the expenditure period for the TIF is over on February 26th of 2026.
And what was looking to possibly go to Summit Place? Didn't we already borrow from one TIF for Summit Place previously?
No, we have not loaned, we've done loans to Summit Place with the structure when we originally did the development, which they do pay debt service on. Going back to the original development, they've made requests to us about financing, but then have pulled back. But that's a 650,000 square foot office building. There's some parking concerns that we'll bring up here in a little bit. They're also going into, the financial market next year. So we know that getting some position, bases occupied would be beneficial. And they've talked to us, but then just have not come back. But if we don't talk about this now, the funding, it's hard to come back. We're recommending making these amendments, these allocations. And then if we spend it, great. If not, then it's back to the rest of the tax and jurisdiction. So. So under state statute, so our goal here is to close 3 TIFs. TIF number 7, which you saw the increment that it generates. Under state law, you can dissolve the TIF, but keep it open for 1 more year for creating a fund for affordable housing. A lot of communities are doing this under the state statute. It's clearly just that you can keep your TIF open 1 year as long as the funding is put into a fund for doing affordable housing. Now, 75% of the funds have to be used for affordable housing, and it has to be at an income level that meets 75% of the county median income. 25% of it is used to improve the housing stock of West Allis. So that 1.2 million would then be put into a fund for affordable housing. We did this when we closed TIF number 9. The CDA approved that concept. And we have around $300,000 in that fund today. We would recommend as staff to do that again, because this is a great chance to create that fund for affordable housing. Affordable housing is difficult to fund. It needs creative resources, and that would be a great tool to do that. But that's up to the CDA, and we would recommend that we utilize that statute.
Number 6. Any further questions regarding item number 6?
Is that kind of the same as 7?
Item number 7.
So 7 is a resolution to prepare the amendment. We broke it out separately just because of all
I was gonna ask you.
the discussion and And because of the purchase of land and all the particular items, 7 is to prepare the amendment, and we would hire Ellers to do that amendment. And then, and you can see here, item 8 would be then to, hire Ellers to do that. And then they would prepare TIF 21 as well. That makes sense?
I'll move approval of 7 and 8.
Move to approve
So
of
they have
7 and 8, second.
6 was a discussion.
Six was the discussion. 7 and 8 would be the resolution.
And 8 is to approve Ellers.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7's a resolution and 8's a
Eight's
resolution for Ellers.
7 and 8.
So he did a first, I did a second.
Right. Is there any further discussion? If not, Patrick, would you take a roll call, please?
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Alderperson King,
Aye.
Mike Suter,
Yes.
Richard Badger,
Yes.
Tom Medley,
Yes.
Jerry Monahan.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, 7-8 resolution passed, but on number 9. Resolution approved purchase agreement between the Community Development Authority, the City of West Dallas, and Sith E. Discard ESQ for the properties at 6500 West Washington Street, 1300 South 65th, 1100 South 64th, and 1100 South 65th, formerly portions of the Motor Castings Company. Patrick?
Mr. Chairman, I know the addresses seem weird with the star, but that's because they're vacant.
Right.
And I got a call from the press today about, what these addresses now. But that's because 2 of them are parking lots. And one of them is,
Yeah, they're on the opposite side of the street
Yeah.
there, yeah.
so there are 4 parcels. I think you saw the map previously that Sean had up. One part of the 6500 is in TIF 7. And these other ones are outside of that area. You might recall we worked out a letter of intent and we negotiated a purchase price of these 4 parcels at 800,000. This is the purchase and sale agreement spelling out. I think it was attached in the website so you can see the actual agreement. It gives us close to 180 days to go and do due diligence on the site, investigate. The CD has already approved with an agreement with Ramble to go out and do the phase 1, phase 2 investigation on the site and to work to address this blighted property. We had outside counsel negotiate this with the receiver. This agreement still has to go to the court for approval. The judge has to approve it, saying the receiver says this is the best I can do. If the judge doesn't agree, that's one thing. If he agrees, then we're on the clock to do our due diligence. But our goal is to get this signed and give this to the court to proceed to acquire those 6 acres of land.
Patrick, would you put up a slide showing the motor casting site?
Yeah, sure.
Question.
Yeah.
So how does this development affect tip number 7 if we're trying to dissolve 7 and there's gonna be a new development in there?
So this would create a new tax increment district.
Okay, so it'll come out, so dissolve 7 and then,
Yeah, the acquisition is paid out to 7.
Excuse me,
Any
Mr. Clark has the floor.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I finish up and I'll catch up.
Okay, are you set, done?
yes,
Okay, go ahead, Lee.
Regarding the motor casting site. If now number 9 goes through, how much of that area will go with it? What's involved?
It's,
That whole area?
there's one little extra on there that it just got tagged in there, but it's this 2.87 acres. This 2.69, this 0.31, which is a physical parking lot, and this 0.14 acre here.
In that area that's not covered,
That's the bike path that goes right along here and up. This is actually parking in this area.
Straight down from where you are. That,
This,
no, go up one more. That section, right? No, right there.
this is in it.
What is that?
To the right, those are houses.
What?
Up
Here?
right there.
These are
No,
just,
no, you had it a moment ago, right? Go up from there, just 1 inch, down an inch. What is that?
that's part of this long motor casting site. All of
That
it.
goes with this?
Yes,
number? All of that's included.
yes.
And then there was an outbuilding at one time
This was their headquarter building, and then there was, this is privately owned, these two.
It was sold earlier.
And there was an additional parking lot here.
Across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Sure, so we're paying
Go ahead.
off that top property out of TIF 7 and putting it right back into a new TIF.
We don't know where that'll be yet. I mean, in terms of development, I obviously TIP is our number one tool to be able to
Yeah.
facilitate development. We have to do the investigation on the soils. We may even walk. You know, and then we have to address it because it is a blight. But I don't see any improvements occurring on that site by the private sector until somebody addresses the environmental concerns. There are open burts at the DNR, like tanks were removed, but the cleanup wasn't done because the building was over it. Now the building's gone. It's possible tanks still there. We're reviewing all that. But until we know the issue of the soils, we won't know exactly how it can be developed. But if you're gonna attract any type of future development, as we see with the other sites, TIF is the that can facilitate that.
And then the agreement, if you go back to that slide, so it's saying that we're going to agree to purchase it for 800,000, but we have
180 days to do our investigation.
and we'll be able to get a clear line of sight of exactly what it is in the 120 days.
Correct.
And then if we realize the soil's good, you would just move forward with the purchase or to come back to CDA.
I mean, I just confirm with the CDA where we're at. And we may come back with a proposal to do geotechnical testing. Geotechnical is to test the soils for actually construction. Even though we could do all the environmental testing, we don't know the quality of the soils because how they put fill back in. Such to be able to build. And we should probably just drill some holes to investigate that, make sure that it can actually be built on. If we could do all the environmental close and not be able to build on the site, and that wouldn't be beneficial. So we've asked for a quote from a contractor to do that.
So why would Seth be making this offer? He doesn't know any more about the condition of the,
He's been appointed by the receiver, he's the receiver by the court, because the property went into bankruptcy.
so he's not the developer.
He's not the developer. He's the attorney representing the court on the dissolution of this property ownership.
Go ahead. You got a clock.
We hired outside counsel to negotiate this, and this is what has been negotiated between. That's an attorney representing the court, and then our attorney was Bruce Keys from Hope Foley.
Motion,
Negotiated down from $2 million ask price.
Correct.
Great job.
yeah. Okay. Motion to approve, just keep us apprised.
The motion approved in second. Any further discussion? Okay, take roll call, please.
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Alderperson Keen,
Aye.
Mike Suter,
Yes.
Richard Badger,
Yes.
Tom Medley,
Yes.
Jay Motter.
Yes. Resolution passes. Resolution
Number 10.
10.
10, excuse me. Number 10, discussion on boundary disconnect pedestrian trail.
Mr. Chairman, I will have Sean Miller talk about our
Okay.
discussions with the state on rails to trails.
Just a brief update on this. So the Hank Aaron Trail runs along the northern portion of the city that you see here. There's that green line running east to west. There's a former spur track that's been abandoned that runs north to south off that Hank Aaron Trail. Running down here, this is represented by this red line that you see comes down. This is Greenfield Avenue and down south through National Avenue along many of our redevelopment areas, along Oak Brewing. And this is Mitchell Street and then down to Burnham. So that spur track has been abandoned by the railroad, and now the city is working on trying to understand how we can get control of it. And so we've been working with the railroad and some people that are experts on how to work with the railroad. on how to sort of take those next steps. So the area between the Hank and Greenfield Avenue is an easement with Whitnall Summit and the 6600 building and the railroad. And then everything south from Greenfield south to Mitchell is actually a parcel owned by the railroad. So in talking to them, they suggested that we're not going to really be able to get the railroad's attention for something this small unless we have something to offer for them. So what we're looking at is we've already been talking to them about eliminating one or two crossings. I believe we recently eliminated one. We're looking at potentially reducing one or two more. Those are things that they like to hear, see. So if we perhaps offer that up, we get their attention and then see if we can somehow acquire this or get rights to that railroad area. We think, a pedestrian trail through this area, through our biggest employment center, through these redevelopment areas down by the farmer's market could be a nice amenity added to the area where it's really now a really cruddy looking abandoned spur track. So we're working with our engineering department, our attorney's office on kind of taking those next steps.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
They like to close crossings because of safety, because they are,
It's,
in my opinion, lazy and don't like to maintain stuff, like all the bushes that always overhang and onto people's properties and into power lines.
yeah, and I mean, the less,
All of the above.
All
yeah,
of the above.
and it's just less.
I credit you for getting with a team that figures out how to work with the railroad, because it is nearly impossible. I went and cut bushes the other day because, this veteran that's in a mobile scooter, the branches knock his hat off every time he goes and it's on the railroad, so, yeah,
We've even painted their bridges.
yeah,
The
so
city that is.
I think, do you guys have in mind, like, what you think might be like beneficial as a closure that won't cause too much heartache?
Yeah, engineering does, and I don't know
Okay.
which
Yeah.
one or two they're looking at, to be honest, so.
I think you're on the right path. I think it makes sense to have a pedestrian trail and good luck.
Go ahead, Mr. Clark, you had a question.
Railroads by their institution have been impossible to work with throughout the country. West Dallas has had its fair share of those pushbacks. How in the world are we going to be able to engage with these idiots?
That was the strategy that we have, is to offer carrot to get their attention. Right now, even Blass is having trouble because of the easement that goes through Whitnall Summit to be able to put new power in, has to go under the railroad easement. And they just said, well, we're not gonna talk about it.
Yep.
So it's not, that was the first reaction to the city engineer, but we just gotta keep at it. And it takes some time, but if we have a plan and a vision, we can work towards it. And then there are people out there that can help open doors, and that's where we started the Rails and Trails conversation. There is a retired railroad real estate person that could join the conversation, but it would cost like a consultant. You know.
Go figure.
He gave us,
Even retired, they're still taking us.
he gave us one free call, and it
Yeah.
was super, super helpful, but I think the next call.
Yeah.
I wish.
One call, that's all.
Oh, you can't play with that.
But that's how we start, we gotta start the planning
Yeah.
and discussion, and this is what we're learning, so.
Okay.
We just thought we'd keep everyone posted. Mr. Chairman, item 11, we'll just take into closed session. And that's 6771 West National,
Okay,
and then item 12, we can discuss here.
all right,
So-
item 12, proposed additional development on lot 3 and lot 4 within 6 Points Farmer Market redevelopment area. Patrick. you have-
So Sona Loss and Makers Row. So Sona is built by Mandel. Makers Row was built by Bonmont, a partner of Mandel. Lot 3 and 4 are part of the overall development in that area, and lot 4 has come to planning commission and received approval. And lot 4 has not yet. They submitted plans last Friday at 4:52 for both buildings on the site. They'd like to build both of these here in the near future. They are on September, Steve? Planning commission?
This later.
So, there are 2 residential buildings, 117 new apartments, 1 building on lot 3 will have a commercial corner and a clubhouse, and we'll show you the renderings of these here. shortly. It's overall, it's around a $30+ million development. And that would finish off the 6 Points area.
So the farmer's market is where the cursor is now, 66th Street. This is lot 3, and then lot 4 is back here.
Yeah, that might be.
Along
well,
Mitchell
it's gonna be
Street.
just, currently lot 3 and lot 4 are owned by the CDA. That's owned right now by the CDA. The plan was to have these developed, and there is a city obligation of around $700,000 to be paid to a fund that was set up to do get the parcels all set up with electrical, stormwater, grading, lighting, et cetera. And so we owe on those two yet. If we go along the path of development, that number can get wrapped up into the future TIF overlay, so it would save us $700,000. Go ahead. These are the renderings, so you can kind of see floor to ceiling windows, architecture is brick. Metal here in terms of the clubhouse type of look. Again, this is being discussed by planning commission at the end of the month, but I wanted to show to the CDA here that these units are coming forward. Any thoughts? Or
Looks similar to 92nd in Greenfield.
Mhm.
yeah, so their construction is first quarter of 2026. They are on Makers Row. One of our things, and I think everybody here heard me say this, is we want to see leases for Makers Row.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, like, I'm not really concerned about their development because what about Makers Row on year number, whatever?
Right, so,
Great, you got big plans and dreams. Why don't you build the shit you got?
so we do have,
Simple as.
there's a Makers Row item on the agenda, right? After
Yeah, I
this.
see.
Well, I
that.
seen
That's-
that there, but we
Just
can-
kind of blended together is, Makers Row, the one, I don't remember how many square feet it is, the, Ford Farms.
It's like 4,500 square feet
They are submitting their building permit.
in maybe 2 weeks.
So we got one.
We got one, and then, I did call Bob on it this afternoon, and they are finishing up numbers for the, they don't want to be called a cocktail lounge, but it's a little restaurant cocktail lounge. That had bids come in right after Labor Day. And they're reviewing their numbers on their space and they're negotiating on their lease. We also have, Family Cycle Fitness. We'll be going into the Sona apartment building. I think they're finishing their financing structure. We've been on every call, with these. And then there's, an event space and
On Sierras.
dress store and, the Empanada business. There'd be 3 type of uses. That would take up the remainder of Makers Row. So we are in discussions. It's just not moving as fast as we'd like, but there is movement.
That's good to hear at least.
Well, yeah.
I'm assuming none of this is affordable housing.
All of it would be market rate. Market rate housing, so, we haven't got into the $2 or whatever it is per, most of them are, single, a lot of them are single bedroom, type of units, but they would be similar to what you get in terms of rents at Sona Loss, which would be, I think, almost 2.25 a square foot.
Yeah.
That's what I'm, in terms of rent, so.
Right.
So they always do it because it's easier to figure out, like $2.25 a square foot.
So for like a 600 square foot apartment, it might be close to $1,300.
For 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's crazy.
No, I can't believe it. They rent them.
No, I understand that, but I feel like we've talked about affordable housing for a second, you know, the gentleman that was here earlier with the Habitat for Humanity, and we have seemingly land that we could put additional affordable housing, but we want to look at this kind of stuff. I mean, that would be a good area for affordable housing to kind of be put in, intertwined with that kind of community.
So with that, in this case, I mean, either one, you would have to provide some sort of TIF or financing. A lot of times for affordable housing, developers use something called WIDA tax credits. It's a competitive. We could talk to them about the rent structures on the building, and maybe there could be a set aside of certain units in an affordable rent range. But a lot of times developers have to compete to get those tax credits, and or they have to find some other mechanism of funding to create that lower rent. You need some sort of subsidy to make up for those lower rents. And we're not, as a community, our rents aren't as high enough. I hate to say it, compared to Topewell and Tosa, where developers can put some aside in order, because the higher rents pay for those lower units. We are looking at affordable housing proposal for Longfellow School on 60th.
Still potentially.
Yeah, the school district, it's not on the agenda.
Right. Can't really talk about it.
There is a development there, 50-some units of affordable that we are looking at. We also think that the motor casting site that we talked about could integrate some of that type of development in it as well. So, significant amount, so. And ownership potentially.
Thanks to those items there, Patrick.
We'll talk about this in closed session. It's just, Land by Label is building on the corner of 70th and Washington. Pretty much there, go back. See the area that's in yellow? I would like to talk about that area in closed session. It's Summit Place parking lot, it's around 320 parking stalls.
All right, so we can go to 14, discussion of Alice Yards redevelopment. Do you want to hold that for?
That's closed session. I guess this is what I brought up before. You can see element 84 here. And this is the corner of 83rd and the flooding. There's possible TIF impacts here. When I say TIF impacts, you lose income, your income approach, when you go to the assessor, you show this is my income for the year, could affect the valuation. Different things could happen here. The developer has lost. I don't know how much, I don't know the math, but you think every month, it's been a month, they lost a complete month worth of rent. People aren't living there, they're putting people up in hotels.
They're
Athletic director,
replacing
the
all
refrigerator,
their furnaces, all their.
the water heaters were
All
shot,
their electrical.
the whole electrical panels were fried. And then, the people who lost their vehicles. So I live in this neighborhood. I've seen a lot of moving trucks. It's been unfortunate, but, I wanted to bring it to the CDA's attention that this is one of our TIF districts that had some significant impact from that, August 9th rainstorm.
Do we need to take any action on 12?
Pardon?
No, there's no action on it. No action on 12 either.
No.
That was just informative. And then, what was the other item here?
14,
Yeah,
Alice Yards.
so I want to bring this to the CDA's attention. So the CDA is separate from the city. It's a separate legal body. The CDA owns a parking lot on the corner of Washington and where the West Allis Chalmers Way will go through. I serve as the executive director of the CDA, or by bylaws secretary. We have not been, I don't think Jerry as chairman has received any communication from the Wisconsin DOT. I've been on planning calls with the DOT and we informed them that the parking lot, that's where the Rebel Street, where the cursor is owned by the CDA and you'd have to negotiate the acquisition. And we have not received any communication. The state is required by statute to follow the same, eminent domain laws for acquisition and taking laws that we do as a city. So they would have to notify us of acquisition. The ownership of 6600 as well as Summit Place. Summit Place has rights to that parking lot. They maintain it. It falls within their parking ratio for their building. 6600 also has access as a shared parking field. So both owners are going, how are you going to replace this parking? I'm bringing this up. It could become a legal matter. And just sharing that with the CDA tonight, and we'll keep you informed on how this proceeds. But they would have to purchase that land from the CDA and help us replace the parking relative to that. So I think they were surprised to learn that the CDA was not the city.
Yeah, good luck, haha.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But we had that email going, what are you doing to replace these? And you know, we've informed Kale, our city attorney, who does represent the CDA, that this could be a legal issue. And then the Rev, just on 86 in Nashville, I get a lot of questions about this one. Great looking sign, probably one of the best signs I've seen in the city on the building at night. You go by, they have finished floors. I have it on the next slide, I think. These are pictures of the finished. That's the actual rendering. So if you look at the building finished and then you go back, it's very similar. That's unbelievable, uncanny how we finally one that actually matches. 6, 5, 4, and 1 have been completed. They are finishing third and second floor by October 1st. And then you'll be getting invites to a ribbon cutting probably on October 17th in the Friday afternoon. So, excuse me?
Just run for that one.
In the same window. I know if you go back to the rendering, one was a 3-bedroom up and facing the park on the up north or southeast corner. Up the top 6th floor, that was $2,600 a month, so 3-bedroom, which leased up immediately. Somebody came in and said, I want that unit.
Don't want just for that one.
Yes, they said, I want that unit. So that was the message from the developer.
All right, then we go to item number 15, consideration relative report on redevelopment initiatives. Are there any questions? Go ahead.
I'm not written by Steve. I'm
Oh.
sorry.
No questions? Number 15, I'm sure.
For Patrick, my friend, what happy talk do you have regarding Kearney and Trucker?
We're gonna talk about that one in closed session.
What do you got happy talk today?
I have, well,
Uh-oh,
In other words,
just has
somebody
talk.
moved in and the building's being worked on. I
do we
understand.
have a motion to go to closed session?
Motion
Not
to
yet.
close
Okay.
second.
I gotta read it. Okay. For agendas, items 5 to 14, the committee convened and closed session pertinent to the provisions of section 19.85/1/8, the state statutes for the purpose of deliberating and investing public funds wherever competitive bargaining requires a closed session. This committee may convene an open session after completion of the closed session to consider the balance of its agenda. Already had a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
So we have the motion in second.
Oh.
Yeah. Second.
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Alderperson Keen,
Aye. Yes.
Mike Suter,
Yes.
Richard Badger,
Yes.
Tom Medley, Jerry Motter.
Yes. We're now in closed session. Patrick, you have.
It's something.